In the soft rain of Toyonaka, Osaka, 1928, a child was born beneath the hum of a flickering lamp. His name was Osamu Tezuka. The world did not know it yet, but this tiny heartbeat would one day redraw the soul of storytelling. The Tezuka home was small, but alive with wonder. His father, Yutaka, projected films on the walls, filling their modest rooms with flickering shadows of Charlie Chaplin and early Disney shorts. His mother, Fumi, filled his ears with bedtime tales of courage and kindness. From those stories, the young boy learned empathy long before he understood art. When he picked up a pencil for the first time, it was not just to draw, it was to understand the hearts of others. He drew what he loved: insects, animals, the quiet beauty of nature, every wing, every leg, every leaf, a world in motion. He would later say that insects were his first teachers, each one showing him the fragile rhythm of life. In the rolling hills of Takarazuka, Osamu's imagination bloomed. The nearby Takarazuka Review Theatre, where women played every role, fascinated him. The drama, the music, the emotion that taught him that art could be limitless. He watched audiences laugh and cry together, and something inside him stirred, a desire to move people the same way, to reach their hearts through pictures, sound, and story. When his family moved again, his sketchbooks moved with him. They were filled with soldiers, robots, fairies, and insects that spoke like philosophers. His childhood was not of toys, but of pages. But by the early 1940s, war loomed over Japan. Sirens cut through the night air. The boy who once dreamed of butterflies now drew under the glow of candlelight, while bombs thundered in the distance. Teenage Osamu watched as the city he loved burned. Yet even then, he refused despair. He filled his notebooks with animals escaping fire, children surviving destruction, hope rising from ashes. His father's clinic overflowed with wounded soldiers. Osamu helped where he could, wrapping bandages, cleaning wounds. When the day ended, he bandaged his dolls too, tiny acts of care in a crumbling world. War shaped him, but it did not harden him. It made him listen more closely to human pain and to the need for compassion, themes that would echo through every story he would ever tell. After the surrender, Japan lay in ruins. But in that ruin, Osamu saw the possibility of rebirth. He enrolled at Nara Medical University, training to become a doctor, to heal others as his father did. Yet in every anatomy lecture, his pencil wandered, margins filled with sketches, cyborgs, travelers and dreamers. Medicine taught him about life and death. Manga taught him what it meant to live between them. In 1947, he released New Treasure Island, a comic that moved like film. For the first time, manga panels flowed like camera shots, sweeping, dynamic, alive. Readers were captivated. A new era had begun. That book sold 500,000 copies. In post-war Japan, a nation aching for hope found it in a young man's drawings. Tezuka was no longer a student, he was a phenomenon. His success gave him purpose, but also pressure. Deadlines mounted, and his imagination raced faster than his hands could draw. He barely slept, often sketching until dawn, lost in worlds of his own making. Then came Astro Boy, a childlike robot with a human heart, created by man longing to be human. It was more than a story. It was a mirror for a generation struggling to rediscover its soul. Astro Boy soared through Japan in 1952, and Tezuka's fame exploded. Children idolized the character. Adults saw their own humanity reflected in steel and circuitry. The line between man and machine blurred beautifully. He was called the God of Manga, but Tezuka rejected the title. He saw himself as a student, always learning, always drawing, always questioning. To him, art was never finished, it was only paused. By the 1960s, he was ready for another revolution. Manga was not enough. He wanted movement, sound, life. He founded Mushi Production and turned his vision toward the screen. In 1963, Astro Boy became Japan's first animated television series. The animation was simple, but the heart behind it was immense. Children across the country sat glued to black and white screens, watching hope take flight. Tezuka had done what no one thought possible. He brought manga to life. He had created modern anime, a new language of emotion, rhythm, and philosophy. But success came at a cost. Budgets were tight, schedules brutal. Tezuka poured every yen he earned back into his studio, often sacrificing his own comfort to keep his staff employed. Still, he never stopped creating. Kimba the White Lion, Princess Knight, The Amazing Three. Each series pushed boundaries, blending whimsy with moral depth. He spoke to children, but he never spoke down to them. Behind the cheerful faces of his characters were questions that cut deep. What is justice? What is life worth? Can compassion survive progress? By the 1970s, Tezuka's work grew darker and wiser. In Phoenix, he explored reincarnation, destiny, and the price of immortality. In Buddha, he told the life story of enlightenment itself. He was no longer just entertaining, he was teaching, reflecting, meditating. His manga became mirrors for the soul of Japan and of humanity itself. As the world changed, so did he. Tezuka began experimenting with adult themes, creating stories that examined love, war, and corruption through mature eyes. Some fans were shocked, but he never stopped evolving. He often said, "Comics are not for children, they are for everyone who still has a heart." He lived those words. His desk overflowed with scripts, sketches, and ideas. Assistants worked around the clock as he guided them like a conductor leading a symphony of ink. He loved science as deeply as art. His background in medicine gave his stories authenticity: biology, robotics, evolution. He bridged fact and fantasy with ease. Yet, beneath the brilliance was exhaustion. He pushed himself to impossible limits, often sleeping only 2 or 3 hours a night. Friends worried, but he brushed it off. Creation was his lifeblood. Through the 1980s, his influence spread worldwide. Manga and anime, once dismissed as trivial, became cultural forces. Artists across continents cited Tezuka as their inspiration. He visited schools and conventions, always encouraging young creators. His message was simple: draw from your heart, don't copy the world, imagine it anew. Despite success, he remained humble. He still drew by hand, still found beauty in the smallest line, still talked to his characters as if they were real. In 1989, his health began to fail. Cancer had spread, but he continued to work, refusing to stop even in the hospital. His final words to his nurse were, "Please let me work." On February the 9th, 1989, Osamu Tezuka passed away at the age of 60. Japan mourned as if it had lost a family member. In truth, it had. The man who gave it dreams was gone. But his creations lived on. Astro Boy, Kimba, Blackjack, Phoenix, stories that continue to inspire generations. His influence became the foundation of a global art form. More than 700 manga volumes, over 150,000 pages, hundreds of films, shows and ideas, a lifetime compressed into ink and motion. He left behind more than art. He left a philosophy that empathy and imagination could heal even a broken world. Today, every manga panel, every anime frame carries a trace of his spirit, his style, his rhythm, his heartbeat. They echo through modern storytelling. Osamu Tezuka transformed tragedy into tenderness, science into soul, and fantasy into faith. He reminded the world that even in darkness, creation is a form of light. From a boy sketching insects by lamplight to a man who gave life to millions of dreams, his journey was more than genius. It was grace. And though time has turned pages and screens have evolved, his message endures. Imagination is not escape, it is endurance. Osamu Tezuka, the doctor who healed through stories, the dreamer who taught machines to feel, and the man who made us all believe in the power of drawing life itself.